Hello and welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Road. Now, this is a new podcast we're doing, and I want you all to know my whole name is Sean Washington, and I'm your host. And I will be guiding you through this journey. You know, it's great to be here. It's great to finally be able to voice this message. It's one that's honestly, it's been subdued, it's been silenced, and we're just gonna dive on in and talk about what is beyond the road. So first off, the idea came from a conversation I had with a friend of mine one day. We were texting and we were just talking about down the road. Now in the state of Georgia, that's where we're at. In the state of Georgia, down the road, you know, if you're from Atlanta, the metro area, when a guy says he's going down the road, you know what that means? He's going to prison, and that's a tough topic, but that's what it means. I remember in the county jail, that's what the officers would tell you. Hey, pack it up. You're going down the road. You're going down the road, and there's all this folklore, myth, legends, scare stories, all types of stuff about down the road, and I didn't really understand what it meant until it was my turn to go down the road. And that's when I really learned it's literally down the road. It's in Jackson, Georgia. It's in Jackson, Georgia. You know, and then the guys who are from South Georgia, they call it up the road. And, you know, it's the same thing. You're going up the road to Jackson, Georgia. But essentially, though, we were talking and I was like, man, I want to do a podcast, man. I want to do something big because I feel like people should know, you know, not just, let me set the record straight. This isn't just another chain gang talk 101, prison vibes, all that. You know, this isn't any of that. This is bringing light to the truth. And you might wonder, well, what's the truth? And that's something that right now I could give you doses of, or I could let people tell you their stories. That way, they're facts and not, you know, secondhand, thirdhand. You know, that goes these days. People go, oh, well, you know, yeah, Sean, you made that up. And I'm like, well, I didn't make any of it up. It's true. But beyond the road was us saying, hey, let's go beyond the prison. Let's go above the prison. We're not just offenders or ex-offenders. We are still citizens of society, or citizens who will one day return to society. You know, we just committed an offense. You commit a crime and automatically the world shuns you. They turn their back on you. Yet I have to say, how many people listening to this have done something that they knew they should not have done, yet you got away with it? What's the difference? The only difference between them and an offender, an inmate, a prisoner, a convict, however you want to label it, is you got away with it. So now you're walking around with secrets. You're walking around with a secret. You're holding on to these things. You're not knowing when someone's going to find out. You're looking over your shoulder. So one thing that I do like is a lot of guys who come into the correctional facilities, you know, the institutions, they have a way of owning up to what they did, and it's a form of healing. Some people say, what do you mean healing? Well, you know, the concept is you commit a crime. You go to court, you know, they say amongst your peers, judge of 12, all that good stuff, guilty, send them down to prison. And that's when society washes their hands of him. You know, he was a big case on the news. Now nobody cares. It was the hot topic, the gossip, the tea, as they say these days. But now, 10 years later, what now? 10 years later, what now? Hold on one second, please. I apologize. I have to stop and I have to let you guys know, as my viewers, my listeners, my support, my audience, that This podcast is being recorded live from the belly of the beast. So we are currently inside the Department of Corrections right now. And so for security reasons and privacy reasons and reasons that we're not trying to get anybody, in a situation, we're going to use different aliases and do our best to be as anonymous as possible. Okay. So that situation right there was I don't even know, they're fixing something, I guess. And they were saying some names, and, sometimes you have to peek around the corner and say, hello. But, yeah, so you say you want to be above the prison system, and like in society, guys go to prison, and that's just it. Nobody talks about it anymore, but there is a hole left. There's a hole in the community. Let's be honest. Let's talk about it. There's a hole left in the community. Not even just for young black men, for all men in general. It's a mass incarceration in Georgia. There's a crooked judicial system in Georgia. There's an overlooking of the community and our youth in Georgia. There's a broken education system in Georgia, and all these things play a part in each other because it starts at home. It starts at home. So you got the kids going to school and they're not getting the education they're looking for. So what are they saying? I can't do this anyway. Then they see what? They turn to the streets and looking at these guys out there in the streets, and they want to be like these guys, and they go out there, and then boom, they're not getting, and it's sad to say this. I'm sorry I have to say this, but these guys today, man, they're not leading your children right. They're not leading our children right, because I have a child of my own. They're getting them caught up and mixed up in all this foolery, and it's not about anything at all. And then they're left where in the county jails. Now they're in the county jails waiting, and that's when it gets kind of crucial. Because this is your baby. Imagine, this is what I'm telling you guys. This can be your son, your nephew, your brother, your dad, your grandfather, your uncle, your daughter, your niece, your sister, your mom. So imagine how you would feel if you're seeing their face plastered all over the news for a crime. It hurts. It doesn't just hurt the victim's family. It hurts you and your family. So you have two parties who are hurt. But now there's a third party who's hurt, because now you have a community also. The neighborhood is hurt because they don't know how to feel. The neighborhood gets split straight down the middle. The people who say you did it, the people who say you didn't do it, and the people who don't care. There is more to a crime. There is more to every case than meets the eye. You have police using tactics that, honestly speaking, are not lawful. The DA is only seeking a conviction, so he's not really caring about what really happened. He just wants you to plea out. But what do you do when some of those people who are pleading out really didn't do it? Are we sending a message that, hey, it's okay to falsely accuse people of crimes and get them locked up, and you can send them to prison for half their lives, and they get out and, here's $1 million, we're sorry. But you can never get back the time that you spent there. You can never get back what you lost. The emotional distress and trauma is real. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what it feels like? And people are like, well, you deserve it. Well, that's the thing about it. We all sit there and we say, you deserve this, you deserve that, he deserves it, oh, they deserve it. And then they go to church on Sunday and say, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But last time I checked, I'm not going to go deep into it, but last time I checked in the Word, does it not say Jesus was sent for who? The sinner, not the saint. But these are the same people, though, ladies and gentlemen, who are pointing fingers and casting doubts and accusations. Let's talk about it. People don't care anymore. Society in our community is in danger. And the only people who can do anything about it is the very people who reside inside of it. But when are we going to wake up and bring this change? When is the change going to happen? Is it something that we're going to keep talking about, we're going to keep marching about, rallying about, protesting about, writing speeches about, making podcasts about, or are we going to physically get up, go out, and make a difference? If I'm here, literally in a prison, And I'm able to wake up and say, hey, something's got to change. This is not just for my benefit. And honestly speaking, I'm not even profiting off of this. I'm honestly putting myself in danger by doing this. Yeah, this is something that is a must. It's a must because we need help. We need help. Let's talk about it. We need help. I talk to so many offenders in here, so many guys who are currently locked up. And over the course of this podcast, you'll hear from them. I'm going to bring them on and let them tell you their story. We're going to have open discussions. We're going to do all of these things because we want to go over it. So Beyond the Road is just about looking beyond the path of prison and looking for alternatives to a situation that is honestly destroying our community. Is crime destroying our community? No, because crime stems from something. So what is it? It is the lack of the male role model at home. It's not just about the black man. It's about every man. It's the lack of the male at home. The lack of love. The lack of care. The lack of nurturing. The lack of respect. It starts at home, everyone. I was 17 years old. Yeah, I had a good mom. She was great. I love her to death. And we went through a lot of situations once I got incarcerated. It was horrible because I just wanted to go home. In my situation, yes, it was a bad one. And I'm currently sitting here talking to you. I have a life with parole. And people say, oh, you had to do something negative. He had to do something real atrocious and bad. That's the thing about it. What is a mistake and what is intentional? Who decides the two? We all say, oh, I just made a mistake. We say we make a mistake when it's beneficial for us, and then we point the finger and cast doubt. Oh, that wasn't a mistake. But see, that's a double-edged sword. It's being double-sided, double standards. You should not be that way. You should always look into a situation for its fullness and try your best to understand it. And that's something we don't do. One thing I'm very keen on is, when you see these guys' cases on the news, oh, he's wanted, he's guilty. He might not be guilty. But in the state of Georgia, you're guilty until proven innocent. That is the truth. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You are fighting for your life. As soon as somebody says you did anything, you are fighting for your life. I can go down to a courthouse well, I can't go, but I can have somebody go to a courthouse right now and press charges on any one of you for armed robbery. And they can say you armed robbed them on this above day at time and you used this kind of gun and you were wearing this. And I promise you the police are coming to get you. That's all I have to tell you. And you're going to fight for your life. You can say, well, I didn't do it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, plenty of people have said they didn't do it. I know guys in here right now who didn't do it. I actually know people who did not do it. There's DNA evidence that says he didn't do it. There's witness testimony that says he didn't do it. They have victims that say he didn't do it. Suspects on the case with them. Co-defendants who say, I lied, it wasn't him. And the judge will still say, well, guilty. Welcome to the state of Georgia, where it does not matter. The only thing that matters is that conviction. We can say it's racial tension, we can say all those good things. And that might play a part in it, but ma'am, ladies, gentlemen, sirs, boys and girls, there are Hispanics, Asians, African Americans, and Caucasians, all currently locked up in the Georgia Department of Corrections. That's one thing about prison. It depends on what state you're in, where you're at. Some prisons are segregated. And by that, I mean, the blacks in with the blacks, the whites with the whites, the Hispanics, but in some places it's not like that. It's desensitized to where we don't see color anymore. Now we look at the content of a man's heart. You look at it as a man, a good man. Is he a man of his word? Does he stand on principles? What are his core values? What drives him? What motivates him? Is he a troublemaker? I don't want to be around those guys. I want to be around the good guys. Why? Because we're trying to correct ourselves. The biggest misconception about the prison system is guys come down here and they're giving you all these programs and then they don't give you anything to do. I promise you, if you believe in your mind that they have these things set up to where they're benefiting us with your tax-paying dollars, you will be highly disappointed. Sure, they'll bring you in and show you this dorm or that dorm. They're not going to show you the dorm where that boy just died. They're not going to show you the videotape of how he sits out there on the floor 14, 15 hours bleeding out because they're understaffed. And then they'll say, oh, it was just an incident. It's not an incident. That is a problem. When you are housed amongst 1,000 men and you are currently in danger every day of the week you wake up, you do not know if you're going to make it home because you are in a place where you know if something happens, nobody is coming for me. There is no help coming. So now you're placed in a situation. And what are you going to do? Are you going to let somebody hurt you? Or are you going to hurt somebody else in order to save your life? So that's what we say. What is a mistake and what's intentional? A lot of guys, they don't want to hurt anybody. We make mistakes. Being young and dumb and stupid, running with the wrong crowds, yes. But at the same time, we have remorse. We are accepted for what we did. We apologize, and we are serving our time. That does not make it right. We want to make it right by building in the community we once helped destroy. We want to fix things. We want to help. We want to be a voice, but we are silenced. We are silenced. And our question is, why are we not allowed to fix the community we once terrorized? Reality is your children today in the African American community, who do they look up to? The athletes, rappers, the OGs. They look up to that lifestyle, that culture, that street life. But what if I sat here and told you I have probably thousands of men eager and ready? And when I say thousands, that's not an exaggerated number. I have thousands of men eager and ready who have names in these communities as being the big dog, the OG, he runs the block, he was slanging the dope, he was this, and they are ready to tell your children, hey, that is not the route you want to go. You may glorifize it, you may look up to it and praise it, but listen to me, somebody who's been through it. I'm the guy you look up to, remember? I'm the guy they're out there talking about. I am telling you, this is not the route to go. You need to go above and beyond this road. Travel down a new road, a new path. Get that education. Start you a business. Because, I have to speak about this now because I have to step out of all people and focus on, honestly, I'm African American. So I have to focus on African American people right quick. We do not believe in ourselves because the world has told us what? My cousin taught me this. He says the world has told the black man that life is hard for you. It's going to be hard for you. We don't care. We don't want to hear about it. You must figure it out, make it work, and you're by yourself. And if you can't make it work, you're not a man. So we're going to do anything and everything we can under the sun, moon, and stars. And then when we get caught up for it, guess what they tell us next? Oh, you didn't love your family. You didn't care. It's a cycle. But we have to break that cycle. We have to break those chains. We have to break this ancestral curse, not generational, ancestral. Because this is a mentality that we've had for so many years. We have to break the fact that other people are able to dictate how we think, act, and move in our community. This is our community. We have the power, the authority, and the ability to strengthen it, to better it, to empower it. We can do all these things if we come together, only if we come together and work as one. Beyond the Road is not just about advocating for inmates and offenders and talking about this. This is about going out there and talking to those in the community who it hurt. Talking to those kids who were influenced. Talking to that old lady who saw it happen. Talking to that woman who's scared to go outside because of the crime. Talking to the families of those who were affected. Because everybody's voice matters in this situation. It's about looking at the right and wrong in cases, how people end up here, the neglect of it. Right is right and wrong is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And if people are able to accept their wrongs and what they did, then I need some folks to step up and tell the court system, hey, you guys are wrong how you did that. What, the Constitution only applies to who? Law-abiding citizens? But last time I checked, weren't we innocent until proven guilty? So you're still a citizen until you're found guilty, right? That's when you become convicted. It's strange. I think it says that. And that's why we are here today. To bring our community back together. For the lost fathers whose voices have been silenced. For the mothers who have been lost in the system in the rural hills of Georgia. We are here to bring them all home to help better the environments that they were taken out of. Everybody in prison is not a knucklehead. Everybody in prison is not a troublemaker. You'd be surprised at some of the acclamations some of these guys have. The achievements they've been. I know guys right now. They can do anything. I mean, you give him a trash bag, a mop bucket, and a pencil, he might make a Chevy. I know guys can do anything, man. I know they're so talented, man. They can do anything. I've seen guys make all types of meals from nothing. You can give a pack of soups and some cheese puffs, and he'll make you a pizza. It's creativity. When you strip a man bare, what will he do? As human beings, what do? We survive. So you would take the incarcerated man, the incarcerated woman, and you look at them and you say, this is a survivor of a catastrophic event. Yes, they probably were the one who brought it about. But does that make it any less of a reality that, hey, they are affected too? No. And that's the thing. Let's talk about it. Let's not just talk. Let's do something about it. Let's go down this road, this avenue, and let's help build everybody. Because I promise we can do it. I promise we can do it. It's not just a vision or a dream or some radical idea, not just some nut guy on a podcast talking about A, B, C, D through Z, and it's not about anything. No. Let's bring our families back together. I read a book when I was a child. It was probably in elementary school. And it takes a village to raise a child. And then you go out there in the community today and you look around and you have parents who won't even take the time to give a good word to another child. They're all focused on, I got to work on myself, my children. Everybody's out for self. And that is why we are where we are, because nobody cares anymore. Once upon a time, we used to stand for something. We used to be together, united. What happened? Why is there so much division amongst us? Not just African American people, Caucasian people, Hispanic people, all people. Why are we so divided? Because of color? Because of social class? Money? What is it? We are all equal. And the issue is we don't feel that way, so we're not going to do, no, let me say this. We are all equal, and the issue is we don't perceive each other as that. We don't perceive that at all. We feel as though we are above others. We lord our presence over other people. And that's an issue. Because understand, what we do today will affect tomorrow. The generations are to come. Just remember this right here. The choices you make today will affect your grandchildren because the next generation is going to be over them. And imagine that. Going at the rate we're going of destruction, America's falling apart. We might not be able to save it in totality, but hey, man, we can save our communities. So right now, my main focus is I want everybody to have peace. But I live in Georgia. So I want to bring my state peace. I want to bring joy back to my home. To those same streets we used to run, the same streets that have cried the tears, have caught the tears that we have cried, matter of fact, of our grandparents, our mothers, everyone. We have something to do. And no matter what, I am going to keep going. I will not stop. And I just pray that you guys are all here with me on this journey and going beyond the road and seeing what we can make happen. You guys tune in to the next podcast, man. I'm gonna see what we can get good. We're gonna get something good for you guys. Good stuff. I know a guy, man. He's a good guy. I'm gonna bring him on and let's hear what he has to say about everything. So this is Beyond the Road with Sean Washington, and I'm signing off. I thank you guys for listening, tuning on in. Probably finna kick back in my bed and eat me a bag of hot Cheetos. And that's reality. All right, man. Y'all be safe out there now.